Hello everyone, I'm Nicole Lynn and this is my channel where I talk about all things Disney, duh. And if you haven't already heard, I was recently accepted to the Disney College for Fall Advantage 2018. And some of you are like, yeah, we get it. I was accepted for the role of attractions and we are now 22 days away from arrival day. And I'm just getting really excited and really anxious to find out where I'm going to be working, because if you didn't already know this, the Disney College program doesn't actually tell you where you're going to be before you get there. Just really anxious to know what are the next 7 months of my life going to look like. And I decided it would be really fun to just go through and name the top attractions I would want to work while working at Disney. And just so you know, this is highly hypothetical. You don't actually get to pick. Basically, for the college program, you show up and they will tell you where you're working and which attraction you'll be at. So I'm gonna be good little CP, show up and do what I'm told, and I'm gonna like it. Hopefully I'm gonna like it. Oh, a random side note, so I used to think that everybody in the Disney College program used to go and work rides. Like, that's what I always thought. And it wasn't until I went to college and I had friends that did the program that I realized, oh, there's like 20 different roles that people can do. So it's kind of funny that I always thought like, oh, someday if I do the college program, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna work rides at Disney, and now I'm still doing that even though there are other options. But anyway, so the way that this is going to work is I'm going to go through each park and name my top 2 attractions I would want to work at that park, and then my bottom 1 or 2 attractions I would not like to be placed at. Again, highly hypothetical, this is just for fun. Alright, so the park I'm going to start off with is Epcot, because oddly when I went to think like, ooh, what attractions would I want to work at Epcot, I was kind of like, for some reason, there was nothing that like immediately popped into my mind. And it's weird because I like Epcot, but I think the reason I like Epcot is because I like the World Showcase. And if you didn't already know this about the World Showcase, but Disney actually hires people from those countries to work in the pavilions. So they wouldn't hire me, an American, to work in like the France pavilion. They would hire somebody in the international program from France to work there. Because honestly, the first thing that came to mind for me was, oh, I would want to work at Frozen Forever After. And the reason I would want to work there is actually because my family has a really strong Norwegian background. My entire dad's side of the family is 100% Norwegian, and I recently went to visit my grandma and she was like drinking out of a cup that said Norwegians do it best or something like that. I mean, at holidays we would have my great grandma say a prayer in Norwegian, and we loved going to the Norway pavilion and checking out the bakery and trying the lefse and the kringles and like comparing it to what we had at my grandma's house. So we really enjoyed going to the Norway pavilion. So I just thought, oh, how cool would that be to work there? But I don't think they put CPs there, and honestly I would just be like the biggest poser in the world to show up and be like, hey everyone, I'm 50% Norwegian and I've never been to Norway. So that was more or less like an honorable mention. Sorry, that was kind of a long side note. Anyway, so I guess one of the top attractions I would want to work at Epcot would be Soarin'. And first of all, just because it's a cool ride. Like, it's probably one of my top 5 rides at Disney World. Also, it's inside, so you don't have to deal with like the elements of Florida, like rain and heat and humidity, so that would be nice. The next attraction I would want to work at Epcot would be Spaceship Earth, and I actually didn't ride this until I was like 12 years old. Like, at least I don't remember riding it before that. And I remember when I went on it, like, I thought it was so cool that there was a ride in this giant sphere. Like, my mind was blown. And also because I am currently a mass communication major, and I love that Spaceship Earth is all about like the development of communication over time and like society's ability to tell its story. Like, I think it's so cool, and I think it's a cool ride. I would like to work there. The top attraction I would not want to work at Epcot would definitely be Mission Space. It's not that I don't like this ride, like, it's cool, I don't mind it, but I've heard from other cast members who work there that because so many people have motion sickness on this ride, like, there's a lot of bodily fluid issues. Like, I'm just, like, let's put it this way. I am not good with dealing with substances that come out of humans, and would just rather not deal with that on a regular basis. Random side note, sorry. So actually there's like this sculpture of the moon in front of Mission Space, and it's got like all the different satellites that have landed on the moon. And actually back in the day, my grandpa worked on those. So my family, we like to go by there and find the satellites that he actually worked on. And I actually have this really cool picture of my grandma, and she's got like her hand on one of the satellites. And so I guess it'd be kind of cool to walk by that every day, but I would still probably rather not work at Mission Space. Alright, so next I'm going to move on to Hollywood Studios. And I've heard so many great things about working at Hollywood Studios, although there's not really a lot of attractions to work on there at the moment. But still, it sounds like a really cool place to work. So one of my top attractions for Hollywood Studios would be Tower of Terror. Okay, this is a super cool ride, and every time I go to Hollywood Studios, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to ride Tower of Terror. And then we go on it, and I get on the ride, and I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate this ride. Why did I get on this? And I'm like super nervous, and then I ride it, and it's awesome, and I love it. So I always kind of have that love-hate thing with Tower of Terror. But that just like proves, like, even though I've been on this ride, it still like gives me nerves, and like it's so fun. It would be really cool to work there just because the theming's really awesome and the costumes are pretty cool. I like their bellhop costumes. And also because I feel like every time I go there, the cast members always mess with the guests, and it's so fun. Last time I went on this, I was sitting next to my sister, and the cast member, of course, is like getting everybody to pull on their yellow straps, and he walks over and looks at my sister, and he goes, oh, you need to buckle that. And literally he just like turns around and walks out, and then you just see the door shut with him like standing there, and we freak out because we're like, oh my goodness, like my sister's gonna die because her seatbelt's not buckled. And then we realized he was totally joking, totally messing with us, and it was so funny. So I think it'd be really fun. I feel like they do that every time I go to Tower of Terror, so it'd be really fun to mess with people all day. So the next attraction I would want to work at Hollywood Studios would be Toy Story Mania. Again, probably a top 5 ride at Disney. I love this ride. Really great theming again. I've heard really good things about the camaraderie between the cast members here, but also a reason I'd want to work here is because I can never beat my husband at Toy Story Mania, and I want to work there and get really good at it so I can beat him. And I know that's a dumb reason, but I don't care. Also, I'd want to work there because even though Toy Story Mania in of itself is not a new attraction, it's still going to become a part of like the new Toy Story Land, because they're going to close the old entrance and have a new one where you can actually enter it from Toy Story Land. So again, I know that technically it's not a new ride, but you would still get to work at the new Toy Story Land, which would be pretty cool. So my top attraction I would not want to work at Hollywood Studios would be, and I kind of had a hard time with this because there wasn't any that really stood out like, oh, I don't want to work here. But I went ahead and went with Rock and Roller Coaster. And this is a great ride. But the reason I don't think I'd want to work here, and really why I would be nervous to work at any roller coaster at Disney, is just because attractions, they stress that safety critical aspect from what I hear. And so I'm sure with like attractions like that is much more extreme than like a kid or a family friendly ride, just because obviously you can't have people falling out of the ride when it goes upside down and stuff like that. So like little errors are a really big deal. Also just because Rock and Roller Coaster is really loud, and I think it's great. I like Aerosmith, it's cool, but I don't know if I would want to have Aerosmith blaring in my ear all the time, or like in that loading station, like listening to that countdown thing like every couple of minutes. That would be a bit much. So alright, so the next park is going to be Animal Kingdom, and I would be so excited to work at Animal Kingdom, mostly because I love animals and it would be awesome. So one ride I would have really liked to work at Animal Kingdom would definitely be Kilimanjaro Safaris. And I don't know if they even put CPs at this ride, but it would be pretty cool. And I'm sure it's challenging just for the fact that, you know, you are in control of the ride vehicle, whereas most Disney attractions, they're on a track. So that is a little, I'm sure that's difficult. Also that you'd have to probably be pretty good at multitasking because you're driving and you're talking about animals and looking out for animals. So I'm sure it's hard, but I still think it would be really cool. So one reason why I want to work there, other than just, of course, you get to see animals all day, is that you get to educate people about animals. And I think that would be so fun, like telling people fun facts about the animals. And I don't know, like, I just love the way that Disney does that fun-educational thing where it's like we're having fun but we're learning at the same time. And I know that's really cheesy, but I love it. I mean, you would definitely like need to know what you're talking about, so you would have to learn a lot about animals. Like, you couldn't drive by and have like a giraffe on your left and be like, oh, everyone look to your left, you have a hippopotamus. Okay, so I don't think anyone would actually confuse a giraffe and a hippopotamus. That was a bad example, but hopefully you know what I mean. Like, you would need to know what you're talking about. And also, I think it would be really cool to work there because, yeah, the route of the ride stays the same, but the animals don't. So it would have, like, it would add variety to your day, because like one time you would go through and like, okay, there are no elephants there, but maybe a little bit later there would be, and it would just be really cool to just, I don't know, mix up your day and see animals. It would be awesome. Next attraction I would want to work at Animal Kingdom would be Dinosaur. Okay, I know that this ride has its haters, but I think this ride is bomb. Like, it is so fun. And honestly, I've been on it so many times, but it's still like, it still gets my adrenaline going, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And I love it. I know that my family, we always went with a large group, so we loved going on this ride because we would just fill up an entire car, and our picture would be awesome. So I think this ride is great, and you get to be indoors, which at Animal Kingdom is like, I think, a big deal because not a lot of things are indoors at Animal Kingdom. And I've also heard it's the hottest park, so that would be nice. And I don't know why, like, I know that their white time travel jumpsuits are really tacky, but I really like them, and I would like to wear one. So yeah, it'd be cool to work at Dinosaur. All right, so Animal Kingdom has 2 attractions that I would really rather not be put at. So the first one is Primeval Whirl. I have never been on this ride. I have been on rides like it at like other amusement parks, and they're fun and everything, but the line is always so long. And also it does like that spinning thing at the end, and I don't feel like being sick and dizzy the rest of the day, so I've never rode it. And I also just don't really appreciate that Disney like just kind of dropped this like carnival ride in the corner of Animal Kingdom and didn't really make any effort for it. I don't know, I've never been a fan, so I would rather not work there. Okay, I just want to make this clear. This is literally my least favorite attraction at all of Disney World. Like, this is the one place where it is like, please Disney, do not put me here. And that is, It's Tough to Be a Bug. I hate this show. I have hated it since I was little. I still hate it, and my family, we do it pretty much every time we go because the rest of my family likes it, and I go just to see like, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I remember, and it always is. It's always awful, and I always hate it. And I just think it's so, like, it's so disappointing because Disney made this like beautiful Tree of Life landmark, and it's gorgeous, and it's got all these like hand carved animals, and then you go into this theater that sits in the middle of the tree and they put this show here, and it's just like, it's like a huge letdown, and I just hate it. I hate It's Tough to Be a Bug. Alright, so I am going to wrap it up with Magic Kingdom, and for this one I'm actually going to start with the ones that I don't want to work at because I want to end on a positive note, not a negative one. So the first attraction that I would not want to work at is Swiss Family Treehouse, and I actually kind of have a confession. I have never seen the movie Swiss Family Treehouse, and I have never actually gone up to the Swiss Family Treehouse attraction at Disney. I intend someday to get around to watching the movie and probably going over there and checking it out once I've watched the movie. But It just, from what I've heard, it doesn't sound very exciting. I don't really know if they actually have a cast member that hangs out over there, and I'm sure if they do, like maybe you do a rotation between, I don't know, like carpets, tiki room. I'm not sure, but I would just rather not have to stand there in the heat and climb a bunch of stairs all day. So my next attraction I would not want to get at Magic Kingdom would be the Tomorrowland Speedway. Okay, so I personally have never done this ride, and I don't really know why it's always so popular. The line is always so long, but it looks really lame. Like, the cars go really slow. The track doesn't give you a lot of freedom. Like, I guess if you're maybe like 5 or younger, it's cool because you get to drive your own car, but other than that, I just think it's so dumb. And also, it smells so bad over there. Like, it smells like global warming. Like, literally, if there were a candle that was scented like global warming, it would smell like Tomorrowland Speedway. So I would just rather not work there. Ironically, one of the top places I would want to work at Magic Kingdom would pretty much be anywhere else in Tomorrowland other than the Speedway. I really love Tomorrowland. I've just always been a fan of that area, and I just really like all the attractions over there. I mean, you have a Space Mountain, Carousel Progress, People Mover, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spins, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. There's a lot of good stuff over there. Oh, I guess there's Stitch. I didn't think of that. Is Stitch still open, or are they still doing that seasonal thing where it's only open temporary? I don't know, like, I guess at least that one's indoors, so I could deal with it, but still, I would be really excited to work in Tomorrowland. And I also just really like the costumes that people wear in Tomorrowland. Like, just always think they're really fun. And is it bad that a lot of my preferences are based on the costumes? Like, oh well. So the number one place I would want to work at Magic Kingdom is Haunted Mansion. And shocker, this is my favorite attraction at Disney. So last summer when I went, my husband and I rode this 4 times because it literally doesn't get old. And this was the first time we went, and Momono Mori, the Haunted Mansion store, was open, and I literally went in and I wanted to buy the store. And I didn't buy the store, but I did buy some cool stuff. Like, I bought this really cool book, and it's about Haunted Mansion, like how the ride came into existence and all the different haunted mansions and like details about them, and it's really cool. And there's a lot of pictures in it, so if you're not a big reader, you should totally check this out because it's got some fun pictures. Okay, so I also got this really cute apron. Like, oh my goodness, it's adorable. And I actually haven't used it for baking yet because my aprons get really gross when I bake with them, and I don't want to like destroy it, but at the same time I probably should use it because it's an apron, and yeah. But anyway, the moral of the story is I love Haunted Mansion. There's a lot of reasons why I'd be so excited to work here. One of them being, of course, it's indoors. It's cool, it's dark in there, and you get out of the Florida elements. And again, the theming is amazing. The costumes are the best costumes on property. At least in my opinion, they're the best costumes in property. But a really big reason why I would want to work there is that you don't have to pretend to be happy and chipper all the time, because that's not really like in character for the attraction. So I know I'm a pretty bubbly person, but still, there are just times when like you're not in a good mood, you're not having a good day, that it's really annoying to pretend to be in a good mood and be like, have a magical day, like I hate my life. So the nice thing about Haunted Mansion is you wouldn't have to do that. Like, you show up and you can be monotone and grumpy and be like, move to the dead center of the room, please. Oh my goodness, it would be so exciting. I would love it. Alright guys, so that's really all I have for you. Let me know, what attractions would you want to work, especially if you got accepted for attractions? What are you hoping for? And if you've worked at any of my like least favorite ones and you think I'm wrong and that they're actually really cool to work at, again, let me know. If you want to see more videos with Disney content or hear more about my Disney College program experience, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And my name's Nicole Lynn, and thanks for watching.